It's time to get physical once again. It's Jordan here, back again with this week's update on all the physical releases coming to the Nintendo Switch. This week's cutoff points are the 21st of October until the 25th of October, Monday to Friday. Hopefully this time it's easy to follow after last week's adjustments. As per usual, we'll be taking a tasty look at all the Western retail releases, all the potential imports, as well as those easy to miss low print games that pop up once in a while. It doesn't matter if they're good, bad, or in the why even bother category, it's our job to tell you about them all. If you want this series to keep going, then continue to show your support with a comment. Last week's video was really bad in terms of views. It got absolutely buried thanks to a couple of reviews that we did soon after, but your comments there mean that we're going to keep doing this. Tell us which of this week's releases you have your eyes on, which games are you playing in your backlog, and what's the most recent addition to your collection. Personally, I got The Witcher 3 in for review, and I tell you that wasn't cheap to get my hands on it so early. But anyways, let us know yours. Destiny Connect is another JRPG from NIS America, an in-house job. This is a unique, more family-friendly approach to the genre, with its art style reminiscent of Disney or Pixar, and I played it. In fact, I reviewed it. My review went out on Friday, so you can see for yourself what it's all about. Destiny Connect releases in North America on the 22nd of October, but Europe has to wait a little longer on the 25th. JRPG fans, do you have time for this? A bit of Earthbound, a bit of Chrono Trigger, a bit of Disney. I think it's worth a quick gander, at the review at least. There's also a collector's edition that's available on NIS America's online store, obviously quite normal for their releases. If they release something, they pretty much always have a limited edition version available. Personally, I want it for the soundtrack alone. Street Outlaws, the list is a licensed tie-in for the American reality TV series. I must admit I had no idea what that was until I was researching for this list, but let's just say licensed tie-in plus Game Mill, the publisher, doesn't overly excite me, especially with it being a reality TV show. But opinions aside, it's a racing game where you build and customize your car to be the first to the finish line. It's supposedly releasing worldwide on October 22nd. Who's going to be revving their engines with this one? And by the way, I couldn't actually find a trailer, which is never a good sign. Skullgirl's second encore is getting a limited edition via Skybound's online shop, including a vinyl record of the soundtrack, as well as a skin for the Joy-Con grip. They are apparently being sent out on the 22nd of October. Is there a standard edition? Supposedly, I just haven't been able to find its existence on any website yet. If I do by the time this video is actually gone out, I'll pop a link in the description below. Anyways, if you don't know what this is, it's a 2D arcade fighter that looks amazing and is well regarded in the fighting community. Even though it's been out a while, it's still one worth a look for sure. On the 25th of October, European Switch owners will be able to get their hands on Spirit Hunter NG. I mentioned this game a couple of episodes back when it released in North America, so just a quick mention that it's a horror game, visual novel from the same series as Death Mark. Looks like a decent game in time for Halloween. Dusk Diver is a vibrant action RPG in a unique setting in Taipei, Taiwan. Although I don't know about you guys, but it seems that Taiwan is having quite the pull for video game settings these days. Anyways, dimension jumping action with an immersive setting. This P-Cube release looks really quite cool. It sold me. There's a standard edition as well as a day one edition which includes an art book and badges. Come on P-Cube, soundtracks are a must-have for these collector's edition style releases. This is due for release in Europe on October the 25th, although North American collectors will have to wait until November the 19th. If you can't wait almost a month, then I'll put import links below as to where you can find a European version for import. On the 25th of October, Children of Morta is receiving a physical edition thanks to Merge Games and Signature Edition Games. Bear in mind that this is only for the European release. North America will have to wait until next week on the 29th. And I know that dates on American sites are all over the place for this one, but I asked Merge Games personally a few weeks ago, and that's the date they gave me, although subject to change, I must add. I'll try and make sure about the American release next week. Anyways, Children of Morta is a nice looking action RPG, a roguelike with a strong storyline, great visuals, 6 playable characters. It looks like a decent release, at least one to keep an eye on. Into the Dead 2 is a free-to-play mobile game that's being charged $40 for a physical release on the Switch. Judgments aside, it's a shooter heavily inspired by The Walking Dead, and I believe it's also an auto-runner from what I can gather from the trailer. Your character automatically runs and you dodge and shoot enemies. I mean, it looks like it could be okay, but as a full-price release, I think you're going to need to check out some reviews on this one. It's releasing on the 25th. While already released digitally, the physical release of Killer Queen Black has some catching up to do. Releasing on the 25th, this arcade phenomenon is the kind of game that needs to be played to actually be truly appreciated. Fast, reactive and intense competition either locally or online through crossplay, it's packed with new and interesting stuff to make the physical price tag worth it. Plus, the wait was long enough, right? And now we know why. Built from the ground up, basically with consoles in mind. Did you buy this digitally already, or have you been waiting for the physical? A quick mention to Harvest Moon Light of Hope Special Edition Complete. This complete edition has been out in the US for quite a while, but is coming to Europe this week on the 25th. Now I feel like I should mention a game that I've missed maybe last week or the week before. Unsurprising considering its lack of English release. Bibi und Tina auf dem Martinshof. Sorry about that. It is a kiddies horse simulator, part of the big series in Germany, I believe. Actually, these mainline European non-English releases are definitely my biggest blind spot. So if you live in Spain, France, Germany, Italy, wherever, and you think I might miss a release that's local to you, hit me up on Twitter, guys. Make sure I don't miss it at SoWhatAboutGame. I want these videos to be as definitive as possible, so help me out. Before we get into today's low print games, just a reminder that if you're new here, hit that subscribe button for awesome weekly content like this, bargains, as well as a healthy dollop of all the latest Switch reviews. Plus, you'll be in with the chance of winning a Nintendo Switch Lite and a copy of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening once we hit 50,000 subscribers. It could be you! Okay, this week's low print games are quite low key, let's get into them. Vectren is a surreal looking game from Red Art Games. They've put up 2,200 units of the standard edition, which is planned to dispatch in December, and 600 units of an impressive collector's edition, which includes a vinyl soundtrack, badges and a poster. These are planned to be dispatched in January. These were announced like 5 seconds after I published last week's episode, as is tradition, and so I'm guessing there might not be a whole lot left by the time this episode goes out. You might want to check that out as soon as possible. Finally, we have a game that I missed last week from Dispatch Games. Radagi Swag is a peculiar title for a peculiar shooter. This is up for pre-order with a standard edition as well as a limited edition, which includes a vinyl album, art book and coin. Just a shout out to the YouTube channel Shmups on Switch for this footage. Go check out his stuff on all things Switch shooters. He does imperious work. I didn't ask permission for this footage because I thought it would be cool if we gave him a nice surprise and you guys head over to find his channel and his great work. Say hello from me. Before we get into this week's imports, if you want to support the show and buy your games at the same time, we have affiliate links for every game that we've talked about here. Well, as much as we can find. We have Amazon US, Amazon UK, and Play Asia for these upcoming imports. So if you're going to buy the games anyways, consider helping us out too. Anyways, imports. The Dragon Quest trilogy featuring the first 3 Dragon Quest games have already been released digitally. But it is getting physical goodness, as mentioned many times by myself. Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 will all be on this Asian region cartridge that supports English as well as Chinese and Korean. This is not a Japanese release. I'm very excited about this one. I have no idea why, since I already bought it digitally so I could review them for the channel, but I can't resist a physical release of a retro JRPG. Call me daft. I mean, that juicy Final Fantasy 7 and 8 physical release seems so far away. Anyways, back to Dragon Quest. This is supposedly shipping around the 24th of October, so be sure to get your order in for then. I can't imagine this one staying in stock for too long after the initial batch. Links are in the description and pinned comment, and check out my review of this afterwards. Giga Wrecker ALT was given a Western release by Limited Run Games not too long ago. Well, it's Japan's turn this time. On the 24th of October, they are being treated to a standard edition as well as a limited edition of the game, the latter of which includes a soundtrack CD as well as an art book. Does it have English included? Well, that's a $1 million question. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't, as to appease the limited run release, but we will see. By the way, check out James's review of this one when it originally released digitally to see if this unique game is for you or not. The last one is a bit of a niche one, as I'm sure it's inaccessible to almost everyone listening here, but for those completionists' sake, Dragon Quest X, you know, the online MMO, is receiving another expansion for the Switch called The Maiden of Thorns and the God of Destruction Online. Plus, it's only a download code in a box. Normally I wouldn't include it, but, you know, I want to be as definitive as possible. And there we go, only 3 imports this week and only 1 for me, which is essential. If you're going to pick up any of those, consider using our links below. Moving swiftly onto this week's spotlight game, our random physical of the week. We're going to go with Night Trap. At first I was planning not to do low print games for this section due to people probably not being able to get their hands on them these days. It kind of feels like teasing. But there are 2 reasons why I decided this week. Firstly, because I have no other horror games, and this is the last one that fits the bill for this Halloween month. Plus, as of the time of writing, the game is on sale on the eShop for something like £3. I picked it up digitally, so I didn't have to open the game. I was going to do eventually, but now there's no point, even though when it did arrive, it was pretty beaten up already. Anyways, if you're looking to get some 90s cheesiness, look no further than Night Trap. It's not a classic game by any means, but for curiosity's sake, it's one of the must-have. It was a very special time in gaming, and this is legendary for the good and the bad. And there we have it, guys, all physical releases coming this week. Let us know which ones you're picking up. Be sure to check out last week's episode, which got absolutely buried during a flurry of other videos that we put out, so I'm sure about half of you missed it. Or I highly recommend you checking out the playlist that we've put together, a nice binge watch of physical goodness. And check out James's Bargains video that was released yesterday on Sunday. Save yourself some cash. We'll see you guys over there. Take care.